I will go through four different news stories that have happened in the Dominican Republic this week. One of them affects Santo Domingo, one of them affects Santiago, for all you Santiago folks out there, and the other two affect the entire country in really, really cool ways. Actually, the second one I'll share with you. I'm gatekeeping and giving you all this thing. The second one is insane to me. I can't believe it's happening or that it happened here in the Dominican Republic. Then I'll answer your questions, so keep those questions coming in the chat. But again, where are you? Drop it in there. Let's get a roll call going. So let's get going on this live. Thank you, Mark. I'm a rock star. He says, you know you're a rock star. I know at least a few of you want to watch. That's all. I wouldn't go rock star. All right. Number one story of the week. It keeps coming up. Amazon in the Dominican Republic. Amazon is officially in the Dominican Republic effective September 2. And this is true. However, I think people are misinterpreting exactly what it means. In fact, I think it means something bigger right now than what most people think it means. What most people think it means is, cool, I can go on Amazon, I can order through Prime, and I'm going to get a delivery at my house now, just like I do in the States or Canada. And that is not the case. Not the case. What this is evidence, further evidence, that the Dominican Republic in Latin America and in the world at large is becoming considered more and more of a logistics hub, of a place of stability where businesses can set up shop. On September 2nd, the first cargo flight will arrive with Amazon products at an Amazon distribution center here in the Dominican Republic. I don't know exactly where. I think it's like Jaina area in Santo Domingo. But this means that this will be the port from which many Latin American places get distribution of Amazon products. That includes the Dominican Republic. Will it shorten timeframes on certain products getting to you if you're ordering through Amazon? Absolutely. I don't know exactly what products will be shipped here. I don't know how much of each product. I don't know if it's like really specific to certain types of products. No idea. But it will shorten the timeline, absolutely. Even for those of you that are aware and use Amazon Prime to get free shipping here in DR. Like that is available right now with conditions. The first is it's only on certain products. It's not every product in Prime. And the second is it's on orders over $49. So I can't just like, I want a water bottle. I'll order it because I can get it on Prime in DR. I heard Amazon delivers to DR now. It's like, no, if that's one of the products that's available through Prime in DR, sure. But with that, you need to order however much that is, $49 total in products for you to get a shipment here free through Prime. The second thing to know is that shipment's going to take 6 to 8 days. Maybe a few more, maybe a few less, but it's not Prime as it stands in the standpoint of like, oh, you get it same day, next day, 2 days from now. That's current status. With this new logistics hub coming online, it is not Prime is available around the island. It is simply, not even simply, it's better than that. It's saying DR has become a stable enough environment that Amazon wants to invest in infrastructure here. It may shorten the timeline on delivery of certain products to you, but it's not replacing BM cargo. You're not going to be, I can just get direct. There's not like a fleet of Amazon trucks that have been launched in DR. Might that come soon? Sure. Might that come sooner than maybe we thought based on this logistics hub launching on September 2nd here? Absolutely. But what is actually being shipped here? I don't know. It could be they're really focused on shipping products here that are more, household items, or maybe it's more like light furniture items. Who knows? I don't know how Amazon's structure works. If it's just like build a giant distribution center, fill it with a little bit of everything, and then, hey, whatever you order, if it happens to be there, great. You'll get it in a day or two here in the country, delivered by BM Cargo, not by Amazon directly. But if it's not here, then it goes through the regular channels. I don't know. All I can tell you is don't expect to go onto Prime, order, and get service and delivery timelines like you do in the United States. That's not what this announcement is. To me, it's even bigger. It's infrastructure, it's jobs, it's an ability for Amazon to set up shop somewhere in Latin America, and they're choosing the Dominican Republic. I think that's bigger news than just Prime is now available. That news will come later, but that news will probably come sooner based on the fact that this distribution center is here. So that's pretty cool to me. So we'll see what happens with it, but I just want to be clear. It's not hey, you got Prime now in DR. That's not what this is. That's not what this is. But to me, it's an even better announcement about the infrastructure in DR. So that's announcement number one. Newsworthy item number two is this, and this is just trippy to me. Trippy. Driverless flying taxis have launched in the Dominican Republic. You get that? Driverless flying taxis. Don't believe me? Hold on. I can turn my camera around. You can see my spit-ladled screen here. Driverless flying taxi launches in Dominican Republic to boost tourism. This is craziness. Craziness. It's not like broad. It's not widespread. I believe he's an Indian or Asian, we'll say. India is in Asia. An Asian entrepreneur launched the first one here. You guys see the image of it right here, right? That thing. That's the first driverless taxi here. And I think it's $100 a trip. It's 2 people. And it's more of a novelty right now, maybe more of a test to see what this does long term. But you think about the possibility here. Imagine being able to just elevate out of Santo Domingo traffic and fly over it. Imagine the ability to have these things flying around in a controlled environment where they don't crash into each other. Imagine being able to avoid all the motos. Imagine at some point paying $5 for a trip on that versus, risking your life in the back of an Uber. Who knows? The possibilities are endless. No way, shape, or form is this like a tomorrow or even day after thing. This is down the line, I would assume, because you need a lot of things. You need the product. You need to bring down the cost. You need the pilots to be certified, to be licensed. I mean, there's a lot of things that have to happen with it, but the possibilities are crazy. And here's what this plays into for me. I spoke through my inner circle, the DR inner circle. I presented them with a ton of information from a consulting firm on real estate here in DR. And we talked about Punta Cana specifically and how this consulting firm sees Punta Cana. And one of the things that they talked about with me offline, not in any document, that I had a conversation with and I shared with the inner circle, so you're all getting it right now. We had this discussion even deeper inside the inner circle, was how one of the dependencies on Punta Cana elevating is having a way more robust and modern transit infrastructure in Punta Cana. Everything is a city. Vista Cana is a city. Punta Cana Village is a city. They're all like little mini cities, all walled off, and they need more common area and more transit between everything. This is being spoken of as an option for that, this driverless drone taxi. This here in Punta Cana, in Santo Domingo, in Santiago, in Puerto Plata, in Samaná, they're all mentioned in the article. So that's a really, really interesting development coming soon, I assume, eventually to the Dominican Republic. I'll show it again for those of you that might have just joined. Driverless flying taxis launched in DR to boost tourism. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. The third news story of this week. By the way, if you followed this live stream on a weekly basis, I called it AMA Friday, and I'm going to do answering questions, of course. But I wanted to pivot it more to let me just share the most interesting news, because I study this stuff. I look at this stuff all the time. So it's more like this week in DR, and then I'll do questions at the end. But the third interesting news story that I saw today was this one. Abinader, president of the country, announces a Santo Domingo monorail. Now, like the other two, I'm tempering the optimism and look what's coming, it's going to be here next year. Not at all. But it does make sense that if they're looking to expand the subway system and the underground rail transit in Santo Domingo, how expensive and time-consuming that is to bring it above ground, like they've done in Santiago. So this, to me, is another announcement down the path of two things. One, better traffic control and modernization of the infrastructure in Santo Domingo. But two, there's a key dependency here, guys. Do you know what that key dependency is? There's a key dependency if you're going to have Santo Domingo monorail, if you're going to have an Amazon logistics center with broad-based Amazon delivery in the future, if you're going to have, what was the other one that I said? Oh, driverless flying taxis that need to be charged. What do you think a big dependency might be for DR to get massive progress on in order for these things to become a true reality for the infrastructure of DR? For Amazon to expand even more, to attract even more business, to attract semiconductor development, which is a big deal for the future. What do you think a key dependency might be? Anybody want to comment on that? Let me know. Let me know what you're thinking. I'll give you a second to drop it down below. And if you haven't gotten it yet, if you're watching this on replay, drop it in the comments. Electricity, energy. I see that. What is that? Johadis? I'm going to say that wrong. The government being a partner for sure, but you need a more reliable grid. You need a more reliable overall power grid. And there have been a lot of articles recently about some of the major milestones they're starting to achieve in that space. So I'm really, really interested to see what that does, what that means. But they're going to have that to have all of these things. If they want Amazon to be here even more and a bigger logistics hub, they're going to need that. But think about it this way. Would Amazon come if that wasn't imminent? Would there be the investment in monorail if it wasn't imminent? Would you see driverless taxis and some of these other things that are coming into the country if this stuff wasn't imminent, meaning improvement of the grid, improvement of the electric grid? Doesn't mean it's great now. Doesn't mean it's been great. You know, it's not forgetting the poor performance in many areas in the past. But if you live in Punta Cana, Verón, if you're a customer of CEPEM or in Punta Cana Village or in Cap Cana of their own internal electric systems, it's possible here. You don't lose power in this area. You just don't, for the most part. So those things, the electric grid in the country, it absolutely, we're getting to like critical mass here. All of this stuff has to happen. And for it to happen, you need a more reliable grid. But even more than that, when you see World Emblem, the largest logo manufacturer in the world, coming into Santiago, when you see Amazon going to Santo Domingo, you got to believe they're pretty confident in the future of the grid. So that makes me very confident in that. So I hope that helps you. All right, I got one more story. This one's for you Santiago people who say I don't love you sometimes. This one is Santiago's. Actually, let me read this article. Punta Cana, without question, is how the article starts. Santo Domingo, yeah. Puerto Plata, of course. You might have even heard of Miches. That's what it says. I want to throw that in there because I keep talking about Miches as the next big thing, and even these articles are saying you might have even heard of Miches. But few leisure travelers have ever thought about a trip to Santiago, a place that has quietly been one of the fastest growing cities in the Dominican Republic, itself the most popular place to visit in the Caribbean, meaning DR, not Santiago. JetBlue on December 13th is announcing daily seasonal flights from Fort Lauderdale to Santiago, which I think for many of you that might be in South Florida, that's good news if Santiago is your destination. So JetBlue is going to be doing a daily flight for about a month, effective December 13th. So that Christmas season where many travel down, you've got a flight option directly with JetBlue from Fort Lauderdale to Santiago. So I don't know who you Santiago people are out there, but kudos to you. Congrats. That's some other news that popped out here. The fares are starting at $139 according to JetBlue. I'm going to guess that's one-way fare, but I could be wrong on that. Fares are starting at $139. Here, I'll show you guys what I'm looking at here. This is on Caribbean Journal, and here is the article. JetBlue is adding a new Dominican Republic route for the holidays. You can see everything I said right here. Punta Cana, without question. Santo Domingo, yeah. Puerto Plata, you might have even heard of Miches, but few have heard of Santiago. And it goes down into the rest of this year. Fares at $139 according to JetBlue, and there you all have it. That, my friends, in under 15 minutes, is This Week in DR. I got to find your comments here. So I'm going to leave a little more time here to answer your question. Sorry about the shakiness of the phone. I was intending to do this on my laptop, but it just didn't work for some reason. A lot of you are saying that obviously it's got to be the electric grid, it's got to be the infrastructure investment, solar farming, solar energy, more reliable grid. Yeah, absolutely. That's what's needed for all of these things, Amazon and everything else to thrive here. Franklin says, thank you for this info. You're welcome. Josie, hi from Montreal. Hello. Dominican and I watch your videos. Oh, appreciate that, Nelson. I live in Orlando, Florida. Welcome to paradise. That Amazon has chosen DR is huge. Colin, I agree. Colin Rogers, I agree with you. They don't make those decisions lightly. They have to have done a lot of due diligence. Listen, I apply that same logic to Miches. So here's the fun part. I say this to my wife, like, I love how people say to me, like, you keep saying Miches is the next spot because you bought land there and want to promote it. It's like, no, I bought land in Miches because I knew it was the next hot spot, or I felt like it was the next hot spot. For me, it is. So therefore, I put my money where my mouth is, if you will. So I see that because I look at, Grupo Punta Cana, wherever they go, and they're doing some stuff in Miches. Even the CEO of Grupo Punta Cana himself opened a resort there called Zemi. Four Seasons is opening a resort and residences in Miches, high end too. They don't do that lightly. Just south of there, the W Hotel in Ubero Alto, that's more Punta Cana, but still, you get the point. Like that area, Ubero Alto, Nisibon, up through Miches, there's a ton of potential in that path of progress, and there's tons of talk of an eventual airport and everything else up there. So that same logic, Amazon has chosen DR is huge. They don't make decisions lightly. This is Colin's statement. They had to have done a lot of due diligence. I say go the McDonald's route. You guys ever hear this? Like Burger King and Wendy's and Chick-fil-A, they all look at where did McDonald's build because they know how much McDonald's invests in researching the next place to put their real estate. McDonald's is a real estate company, not a burger company. So they follow that lead. I say do the same thing in DR. Where's Grupo Punta Cana going? Where's the Four Seasons going? Where is, what did I say? The W Hotel brand going? Where are these major players putting their money? Miches, Dreams, Hilton, Marriott, what's the other one? Secrets. Again, Four Seasons. Cheryl Henderson, Boardwalk, who I invested with. She's been here 20 years. She knows this market cold. So when she's like, oh, I'm buying a Miches, I'm going to buy land. I'm like, holy crap, that's where I want to buy land. And I love her, so I bought it there. So anyway, that's my thought on that. They have 2 pilots who are trained and certified. Oh, that's good to know, Smith. That's on the drone taxi. I did not know that. Thank you, Smith. Thank you for all of your comments, Smith, please. I always appreciate seeing you. As a drone operator, I saw this coming and it makes sense. CGN, good to know. I bought a drone recently, like a DJI drone for filming. I'm not good at it, but my 10-year-old loves flying it. So that also sounds like a near-coming opportunity for businesses to subcontract the delivery fleets. Javier Diaz, you are a smart man. I have friends in the U.S. who made a ton of money buying Amazon logistics routes in Michigan and different, like they just, I mean, as simple as it sounds, they're like, oh, nobody's got the Amazon trucks here. I'll do it. And they were the first one in. Could be. That said, Javier, I do think that, you got to remember the players that are here, the BM Cargos, that's the one, my favorite, by the way, the Domexes, the EPSs, like they're not dumb either, right? Like they're going to be saying, hey, look, why Amazon invest in your own fleet? We'll put an Amazon tag on our vans and we'll go deliver, right? Like in a small country like this, I would guess that for survival and thriving, the courier services here will be smart enough to go out and say, look, don't start selling logistics hubs. Like, we'll partner with you. We'll give you this kickback, Amazon. Just make us your logistics hub. We don't care if they see BM Cargo first on our vans or if they see Amazon first on our vans. I believe that that's probably what's going to happen, but I don't have any insight from that at all. I'm just giving you my thoughts. I love your content. I'm pushing to move there because of you. Oh, Harold, that's amazing. Jules, watching from DC, owned 2 condos in Los Colados. First purchase was February 2023. Love it, Jules. Good seeing you, buddy. Our household items included. That was on the Amazon thing. I don't know. I don't know what's coming there, Raphael. I'm not quite sure. Is there no Amazon-like company there in DR? Dan, yeah, they're like I just talked about. Like, I see Waco, Texas here for Revelation Out Quilts. Good to see you. There is, but it's the delivery services or couriers. H-Town, hey, Rude Dog, what's going on? Good to see you as always. In Miami right now, Javier, heading to Santiago. Cool. Let's see if there's more questions. Pardon my thumb as I scroll through. So much money coming to DR. There is, and look, it's hard. You see all these comments. I put out a lot of content, and there's a lot of comments, and it's hard as a human being not to see the negative ones first, right? There's so many people that are like, oh, this is great. I love it. This is awesome. Great content. I see all of those, but the ones that really like hit me are the ones that are these sort of dismissive, ignorant, angry comments. And there's this whole thing about so much money coming to DR. 2 things. Like one is like, DR. And I'm like, are you not looking around? Like, I mean, I've been coming here for 15 years. I'm not a lifetime DR guy. My wife grew up here and then moved back here, obviously. She left here at the age of 12, moved to Boston. That's where we met years later. And then she moved back here with me 3 years ago. So she could see then to now. Like, I get that things don't happen as fast here. Trust me, I'm trying to get a mortgage right now. Things don't happen fast here. But things are happening. When you look at the Santiago monorail, when you look at the Amazon logistics hub that's launching next week, when you look at the expansion, just the Punta Cana airport, there's a flyover being built also by Grupo Punta Cana in the Punta Cana area to get you north faster. I mean, the stuff that's happening here is huge. So there's a lot of doubters that just think like, DR, it's all going to come crashing down anyway. Watch for a hurricane. It's like, there's been hurricanes. There will be more, and it will recover. And the second one is like, this isn't good for the locals. I understand that sentiment. I want to be sensitive to it. But most locals I speak to, or through my wife that we speak to, say, look, there's 2 realities. Reality 1 is everything stays the same. Everything's cheap, inexpensive, whatever, but we have no money because we have no jobs. Or reality 2 is, yeah, we get boxed out a bit. We may have to move, like, Punta Cana means Verón for us, or Otra Banda. We're not quite able to have the same access that we had when the country was just ours. And it becomes more expensive, but we have jobs to pay for that, like Amazon, like more people moving here and paying for cleaning ladies and everything else, right? Like the jobs are the bigger desire for people locally than to keep things the way they are. But for many that see it from afar, I understand that it may seem like, oh, this isn't going well, like this isn't good for the locals or whatever. It's like, I'm sure some locals will say the same. They'll say, "Ah, this isn't good for us because of this, that, or the other." But I'll tell you, man, the Dominicans are very entrepreneurial by nature. I think it's survival here, and I think they can see their way, most in a good way, some nefariously, through the opportunities that are coming. They can see ways to benefit from them more than they see the value of it, of none of this growth and staying the way it was. And look, on a bigger like mindset level, there's two realities, and I think this is true. You're either growing or you're dying. As a human being, as a tree, whatever. You're either growing or you're dying or you're dead. So the country's growing, and I think it's just a matter of what I try to do is report on what it is, try to share honest perspective on it. My take doesn't mean I'm right on everything, and we go from there. But yes, lots of money flowing into DR. Alma, I thought so much about you and family after the shooting in the school church. My God, that shooting, man. I don't care about the people get nuts about, like, you see who the perpetrator was. Like, it doesn't matter. This has happened. I mean, all different types have been the shooters in the United. There's so many shootings. It's not a one size fits all. Like, for a while it was like, oh, it's all white guys, and then for a while it was like, oh, it's trans people. It's just it runs the gambit. It really does. Although I'll admit, there's not that many Latin Americans that you see in these news stories. But the point is, I never expected when we came here for a year that a big part of the reason we decided to stay past that was to have our kids in a safer environment. I would much rather control the outcome of something dangerous here, like driving. Depends on how much you want to call that dangerous. You could be careful with that. You could be mindful of others on the road. You could be attentive. But you can't control when a psycho decides he's going to kick in a door and start shooting children, or not even just shooting through the window. It's sad. It breaks my heart. My wife did a story on Instagram about this, like, what is up in the United States? Like, how do we get better at this? And it's not hatred for the US. It's the most amazing country. It provides me the opportunity to live here and thrive here in the Dominican Republic. It is my home. But that is just sad, what's happening, these shootings and everything else. So anyway, will there be an Amazon warehouse in DR? Sebastian, where have you been? That's the big news this week. There already is. It's the logistics hub is launching its first cargo influx on September 2nd, next week. I'm Dominican in Texas. I invested in Atlandita across from the Bávaro Resort. Narc, is it? Mars? Maybe that's Mark Nars. You reverse the names. I've seen it. It's actually coming along. I feel like that project's been delayed quite a bit. I think it's a Noval project. But driving by, you can see that it's actually starting to get going, which is good news for those that invested there. What else do we got? Hit the likes. Thank you, Franklin. Yes, hit the likes. Likes make this get more reach. It gets more attention for the channel. And if you think this channel adds value, I appreciate it. Rudog, I am subscribed, but no button to check. I don't know what Rudog said. What did Rudog say? Let's go back and see. We had drama in the chat. AA, click the subscribe button and make sure the check is next to all symbols. I can't even see what that is on my end. So Rudog, I appreciate you out there stumping for me, brother. Thank you for that. Hit the likes. Great thing for DR. I agree, Alma. What else we got down here? Cortecito, do you believe the Maple Suites project will carry same caliber finishes in the apartments that Maple Beaches carries? Yeah, I mean, yes. Maple Beach is a more expensive project, but they're also larger, 2-3 bedroom penthouses. Maple Suites is all one bed. So yeah, I mean, it's the same developer. They're going to leverage scale. I mean, everything I've seen there as far as building has been good. So I do. The biggest issue with Cortecito right now is this. They're redoing the roads. Amazing. They need to fix the drainage soon. I do know that Cheryl was talking about finding ways to just circumvent that and do it on her own, which is why I love Cheryl. She will find a way. She is an entrepreneur's entrepreneur, and she is hey, if someone else isn't going to do it, I'll do it. I remember sitting down for dinner with her, and I was like going through like, oh my God, we've had so many expenses lately. God, it feels like money. You ever have those moments where it's just like, this pops up and this pops up and this pops up? We had dinner. She's like, you good? I'm like, yeah, it just feels like 10 grand out the door here, 5 grand there. It was just these big expenses that popped up. And she kind of shrugged her shoulders. She goes, make more money. There's plenty of it in the world. Just find ways to add value and make more money. I love her spirit. So Cortecito, yeah, I see them having the same finishes. Are they going to be perfect? No, but I'm excited about the location, the opportunity, and the growth of that area for sure. DR is growing, Pedro. I agree. As a person traveling from Miami, Javier says, to Santiago this evening and after, as long as it's cheaper than the $1,000 American flight, all in during the Christmas season. No kidding, Javier. I'm going up to New York next week. Granted, I went first class, but here's why. I'm paying $1,400, but coach was $1,000. So I was like, for 400 extra bucks, I know that might be, I don't mean to dismiss 400. I know it sounds like, oh, this guy, but you get my point. For 400 extra bucks, I'm flying first class up there. $1,000 for coach. It was insane on American. There were some cheaper options, but none of them were direct. Can you explain the new Passover driveway by downtown? It's not actually by downtown per se, K. Christen. It's actually, it's the first intersection when you're leaving the airport area. If you've ever been to Punta Cana, you leave the airport and you go into a traffic circle, and then you take the first exit to go north, and that takes you to downtown Punta Cana, all the resorts, all of that. The very first intersection, there's a flyover being built. And I believe there's 3 other intersections that need that flyover as well to keep traffic moving. But it's a flyover being built by Gruber Punta Cana on land that I believe is not theirs. So I believe they partnered with the government in order to build that. Could be wrong, but I do know it's them building it. It's their cost, their project. So yeah, that is the Passover, the flyover that's happening there. You can see already where they're developing like the exits into Beron underneath and all of that. But the beams went up the other day. I think that's going to be a big deal for the area. And yeah, it's both ways. It's a full flyover for that highway. It's not Mickey Mouse. It's a big project. They're building that right now. And I would guess before Christmas, maybe even by October, that it's done. It's rolling fast. Let me see what else we got here. It just scrolled up on me. So can you explain the Passover? How is Vista Cana going? Raphael, I see it a lot there. It's going great. A member of the inner circle that I have, the DR inner circle, which down in the link, you guys can join that if you're not in it. I love it. $9 a month. I think saying this with full humility, it's like, man, that's worth it. Once a week live. This discussion we had this past Tuesday alone on somebody revealed that he's actually on this video chat. One of the inner circle members revealed that a Cap Cana project doesn't have insurance. They didn't purchase insurance on the building. You won't know that unless you're in something like the inner circle where people are talking about this stuff. So we talked about Vista Cana. One guy said, oh, I'm hitting 3 different spots in the country to look to invest. Vista Cana is my last spot. He messaged me last night and he said, I'm buying a Vista Cana, not the other 2, in other parts of the country. He was in like Puerto Plata, maybe Samaná, and then he came to Vista Cana. He goes, I get it. Lots still to go, lots of development, but I see what they're building. I see what it is. Vista Cana it's in its stride, and something big would have to interrupt that at this point. Bobby says, I have a friend named Tommy. Of course, Bobby has a friend named Tommy. Do you have a Joey too? It's such a common name, Bobby. I'm kidding. Who joined this life for the first time. Could you give him a shout out? Oh, the live for the first time. Tommy, wherever you are out there, buddy. Good to see you. Your friend Bobby says hi. There's your shout out, man. Hey, all of you, I appreciate you being here. Sebastian, will Amazon pay them in pesos or dollars? I mean, I don't know, but I would bet a lot of money it's in pesos. Here's the thing on this, and I don't know how to articulate this, but I think as Americans, and I know that I've had this, I battle with this. We look at like if somebody's making, 100,000 pesos a month, which is like, what is that? It's over $1,000 a month, right? 100,000 pesos a month. It's like, that's only 1,000 US. But 1,000 in any currency is a lot. Does that make sense? Like 1,000 pesos, while it's like $17 to an American. So you convert it and you go, 1,000 is a lot. So they'll pay him in pesos, no doubt. They may even pay him higher than market, but you're still talking, under 2,000 a month in income, which to an American is like, how do you survive? But you can, and you do, and actually you do well. That's a middle class income here in DR. I don't know if that's how much it's going to be. Maybe it's $400 or $500 a month. I don't know, but somebody may be able to more articulately say it than me. But I've gotten past the idea of converting the currency, and I'm accepting of the fact that there is a middle class that gets paid what seems like low wages here. And that's just what it is. But I'll give this caveat. Maybe this brings it to light. If a company or a restaurant is pricing and charging in US dollars, I believe they should pay closer to a US dollar income salary to their employees. That's just my take on it. So look, if you go to a restaurant, like a Dominican restaurant or like a Colomado, and it's 400 pesos for a meal, then sure, pay in pesos. But if it's instead, you're like, a steak is $60, that's a US dollar price, and your employees should be paid in US dollar type incomes. Maybe you don't have to go all the way up to like $20 an hour, but 7, 8, I believe that's the way it should go. That's just my take. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's just my take on it. Javier, compassionate capitalism equals a better world for all of us. I agree. Vista count of 10 years from now. I agree, Chrisan. It's going to be huge. Thank you for creating such fantastic content. Danny, Cherry, I appreciate that. Curious to hear your thoughts on investing in Puerto Plata. What do you think? I think it's a great spot. I actually got offered to go up there this weekend. I can't make it, to check out a project there. There's a lot going on. I think drainage, like anywhere with all the growth, needs to be considered when you're looking at places up there. But there's a lot of investment in Puerto Plata. I think if you look at anywhere coastal in the country, I don't think you can go wrong long term. I do think that certain things have more weight than others. I think Miches, Samaná, Puerto Plata, Rio San Juan, Barahona are more front of mind. I think Bayaibe is behind that, still good, but behind it. And here's my standard for that. Look for where private and public money are flowing. Bayaibe is all private. Everywhere else I mentioned, plus Punta Cana, Santo Domingo, Santiago, is a mix of private and public. When the government isn't putting money in there, my initial instinct is like, oh, there's enough private money flowing. But the government's putting money in Punta Cana despite big private money with Grupo Punta Cana. So that tells me something about what the government sees as investable. And I just haven't seen big public infrastructure projects in La Romana in general. Bayaibe, Dominicus, lots of private. There's more public money in San Pedro than there is in La Romana. Flights aren't going to La Romana except for one out of Miami. That's just my way of looking at it, guys. I could be wrong. It doesn't mean like Bayaibe is below the line of investable. I'm just saying that everything coastal is above the line, but the bottom of that stack to me of above the line investments, all good areas for the future is Bayaibe. And then I have a whole thing about what investing means here, but we won't have to get into that right now. Don't you use miles or rewards towards your flights? Whispers, I can. Sometimes I do, but I don't enough. I have a lot of miles actually with Bank of America I should use, but I just don't think of it. Like, this is how Whispers, it's Whispers of Light, if you wonder why I'm calling this person that. I operate this way, right, wrong, or otherwise. I look at it like I need to book, easiest possible route. I don't sit and think long about how with anything. I'm a go first, break things, figure it out later kind of guy. And that's kind of the same with flights. Like if it's something where it's like, oh crap, I got to go to New York, let me just book a flight. Then my mind's thinking book a flight, I book the flight. I don't take a minute and think through like, well, maybe there's points, maybe there's this, maybe there's that, right, wrong, or otherwise. That's just how I go. I'm a fire ready aim kind of guy. Rudog, it's called Politician's Greed. As a retired veteran, there's no reason for someone to be able to purchase an AR-15 rifle that's only designed to destroy and inflict maximum damage. Deep topic, Rudog. I won't get into that too much, but either way, I just hate seeing people get hurt. I'm too cheap. I got you, CGN. I know. This is my belief, and this isn't a criticism. I believe that too cheap and frugality risks scarcity mindset. So it's, again, you could be too cheap. You could be too frugal. You could be too loose with your money as well and get in trouble. I've stayed out of debt. I've been lucky to do that. But I'm not a guy who looks at the right side of the menu. I'm not a guy, like I said, who looks at like, oh, maybe I can do this on points, get it cheaper. I just never think in those terms unless it's, big purchase like real estate. I'm not throwing caution to the wind. But to me, a $120 meal or a $160 meal, okay, it's $40. I don't sweat it because I like to live in abundance. Again, doesn't make me right, doesn't make anybody wrong. But I believe in, this is just my core belief on life. I believe when you focus on, look at it this way. Can anyone get their expenses to zero? The answer is no. So you could be frugal only to a cap, right? You're going to have to spend, you can't even get to zero. So focusing on frugality for me is like, you only have so much energy in your world and your life. If you focus on frugality, I'm not saying you don't think about expenses or you don't manage your expenses. That's not what I mean. But when people are like, when I get the question from people like, hey, how much was that burger? It's like, does that matter? I mean, does that, if you can go buy a burger, whether it's $12, $13, or $18, to me shouldn't matter because frugality has a limit of an amount you have to spend. You can't even get to zero, but abundance is unlimited. You can earn an unlimited amount of money. And when I shifted to that mindset away from like Dave Ramsey only, like I like Dave Ramsey principles, stay out of debt, whatever, have some savings. But when you shift away from that toward abundance mindset of like, how do I add value to more people, period? that generates more of a return, the KPI being money. And I got a little deep on that, but sorry if your I'm too cheap was just a joke and I took it way too far, CGN. My bad. I'm in New York, was there in Punta Cana early August. Pat, I'll be in New York next week, Friday evening, September 5th. I'll be at Radagast Brewery or Beer Garden in Brooklyn, 7 p.m. just to hang out. Anybody wants to come. Saturday morning, I was just invited to a real estate fair in Washington Heights. More details to come on that. Double A, you're welcome. Let's see. We invested in Sun Village, delayed, but we understand it. Congrats to you, Nelly. I hope you enjoy the project. How do we connect with you? My husband has a few questions about IT to throw to you. Nelly, the best way to connect with me, it's so hard to do in person for me. I get dozens a day sometimes. Hey, can we grab lunch? Can I grab coffee? Can we do this? Like, I have to just say no blanketly. I created the DR Inner Circle for that reason. We do once a week Q&A. It's group Q&A, but still ask the question. There's a Facebook group. We can communicate through that. But that for $9 a month, I wanted to solve a few problems. One, give more content. Two, give more of my true thoughts on certain things, like a real estate agency here that I just don't trust, and they proved me right again today. Whoever's in the inner circle, you'll see a post on that because maybe I'm being too hard on them, but you know who I'm talking about. And the ability to connect weekly on live Zoom Q&A calls. Plus, once a month, I bring an expert in to teach about different topics. There's an attorney in there that I refer, and he gives discounts to Inner Circle members. $9 a month. It's a great program, I believe. So that's the best way to connect with me, to be honest with you. Or if you're in New York, come on by. Not getting notifications for the Inner Circle. Hope to see you. Nelson, how are you not getting that's it. We got to solve that problem. If you have to wait 4 years to move, what is the best first step to secure that as a future? Buy a property and pay it off. That's my thoughts on that. I have a family member who lives off a $2,500 US salary. He lives very comfortably. You can, Smith. You can absolutely live. Jay, Abroad with Jay, my boy, he just did a video on his expenses. And spoiler alert, they were like under $3,000 a month, not counting some pop-ups, but you could definitely do it for not too much. And look, if I were to boil my expenses down to like the standard of living I have right now without frills, like not going out to eat, not traveling, it would be under $6,000, under $6,000 a month. That's with a cleaning lady. That's with my kids in soccer. That's with private school, under $6,000. But my kids wanted to eat out last night. We went out. I like to do that stuff. As of right, Amazon Pay up is to 20 in the state of Florida. If they pay up close to that in their currency, people will make a good living. We'll see, Sebastian. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to pay. We moved to Las Terrenas from Canada. What do you think about buying land here? I mean, listen, anything you buy in the Dominican Republic, I think you have to have a long-term mindset. I also believe that anything you buy in the Dominican Republic, with very few exceptions, has to be considered a speculative investment. So if you're looking at like, I want to buy land here and you're going to watch it, like what's the value today? What's the value today? Any project you buy in the art, that's not the right move. But if you're willing to close your eyes for 6 to 8 years, meaning buy it, build on it, have it, own it, don't even think about like liquidating it. Like it's not money you need to spend. Look up in 6 to 8 years, 10 years, 15 years, and I think you'll be very happy with that purchase. That's my general take on buying in the Dominican Republic, on investing in the Dominican Republic. I bought it by eBay, 2-bedroom apartment for $168 close to the beach. You can't beat that for the price. Mike, I agree. By eBay from a standpoint, like I said, good investable market. For me, it's on the lower end of what I would invest in. I would invest there, to be very clear. But for me, it's on the lower end because I don't see public investment. When I do, I'll change my tune on it. But that's what I'm saying. Like, guys, beach or near beach. What did they say, Mike? Close to the beach. On the beach anywhere in this country is not. People are like, can I get a beachfront property for $95,000? Like, yeah, and I can also, go back and have a dinner with Abraham Lincoln. Like, no, I don't know why I came up with that. That was stupid. That was a bad analogy. But when you're live, you got to come up with stuff. All right, that was what came to the top of my bald head. But you're not finding beachfront for under, at least $250,000. That's probably land, just like a small plot of land. But when you can buy for $168,000, 2 bedrooms near the beach, there you go, by eBay. Cortecito, my 1 bedroom is $170,000, 1 block from the beach. Like, you ain't finding that in too many places, especially not in areas developed as Cortecito and by eBay. Is the DR safe? When was the last mass shooting anywhere in DR? Rudolph, mass shooting has this wide definition. Like the way we think about mass shootings, like active shooter alert, never. Never has a mall been under siege. Never has a school been under siege. And I pray to God that it stays that way. And to be honest with you, The Amazon news is the one thing that I think creates risk with that. 'Cause I believe more than gun control or anything in the United States, the biggest reason you see these shootings is because people get all their stuff delivered to their home. They sit in their basement. They play video games with nameless, faceless people. There's just a lack of a connection to others. Man, try watching a pregnant or older woman push her own cart in a grocery store here and see what happens. You know what I mean? Like, people are more connected. Let me share this story. I shared this, I think, in the inner circle. We were in Michigan 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, for the month. My wife, this is so crazy. Wait till you hear this. My wife and her friend Chelsea, nobody knows who she is, so I'm calling her out. We're in a van, Chelsea's van, with two of my 2 kids and 2 of her kids. She has 4. So 4 boys, young boys under 10, in this van, and then 2 ladies. They're on a dirt road because for some reason Michigan has roads that aren't paved. So you think of DR, like, oh, DR is underfunded infrastructure-wise. Like, so is Michigan. But they're on a dirt road, and she pops a tire. And I shit you not, this is what happens. A guy pulls by, he and his wife, and he says, and they call for a tow truck, but they're waiting. 2 women, 4 kids under 10, and on a dirt road in the middle of nowhere. Guy pulls by and he goes, hey, did you called somebody? Cool. I would stop. Get this. I can't wait for you to do this. I would stop, but we have karaoke right now. That's a real story that happened less than 2 months ago in the United States. Can you imagine seeing 2 women, or anybody for that matter, and children in a van on a dirt road with a flat tire, and your obligation is not a flight you got to take, a death in the family, your granddaughter's delivering a baby or a daughter or whatever, and you got to get to the hospital. But even in those cases, right? Like, can you imagine not saying, let me wait till the tow truck gets here. Let me just make sure you're good, right? Now, let me contrast that for you. Let me contrast that. I landed back here after a month in the Dominican Republic. This is, again, no bullshit. I posted it on my stories. I could pull it out of the archive. I landed back here, came home. My sons and I were on one flight. My wife is on another flight because we weren't originally all going together. Only she was going to go. So when we decided I was going to go, her flight was sold out. I had to get a different flight. Anyway, I land here with my boys. My wife's landing an hour later. We got a ride back to our home. We're pretty close to the airport. And we have 2 cars. We have our 2020 CRV and we have an old beater 2012 Volkswagen Jetta wagon. I got to replace that soon, but whatever. We really only drive 1 car around, so it's just like nice to have. The Volkswagen is behind the CRV in the driveway. So I'm like, oh, I'll either move it or I'll take it. I go in to start it, click, 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 click. Battery's dead. It's not starting. So I start to like get in. I pop it into neutral, which is tough in a Volkswagen. You got to rip off the center console. I start pushing it into the road. Right? And there's like a dip to my driveway. So I kind of get enough momentum so it dips down. I jump in, I hit the brake. And as I'm doing that, a dude comes around the corner to like go down my road. I don't know who this guy is. He comes around the corner and without even hesitating, I don't even know how he knew I was pushing it. He just saw me sitting in the car. He pulls over to the side of the road. He hops out and he says one word to me. He says, "Vámonos," just like that. He snapped his fingers like, "Vámonos," like, let's get this done. Pushed me out of the driveway. I turned the wheel. He pushed me out in front of my house. And then I got in the other car and took off. I didn't get his name. He just was like, "See ya, nice day." Took off and went about his day. Very contrasting stories about the connectedness of people in DR versus the United States. And I thought that just encapsulated it so well. So to that point about lack of human connection, absolutely. I forget where I even started on that story, but that's that. Let me go up here and answer a few more questions for you guys. The safety. Oh yeah, Somebody asked about safety. So is it safe here? No, there's not mass shootings. The most recent news that's like disturbing here, there was 2 reported stories of mothers killing, I even hate saying it, like ending their children's and then their own lives. There's been 2 stories about that in Santo Domingo. Like that's just, look, things happen everywhere. But if you were to ask me to go into a crowded area and walk through that crowded area, and you had a choice to do it in DR or do it in the United States, I would do it in DR every day, even if I got pickpocketed, which I think is I think that's also like a bit of a story from the past. Not that it doesn't happen again, but people tell stories of like, no matter what, your phone's in your hand, it's taken. Like that's just not the reality of DR today. Not in the areas all of us watching this would frequent, but yeah, safety in DR, like it's not even a question anymore to me. We feel so much safer here. So even when we're so annoyed by the lack of efficiency in the driving it can be unsafe, but That's to me, like, no question, it's safer here than the US in that regard. When we have a lawyer to purchase property in ADR, what services do they deliver usually? They're delivering due diligence, title research, any negotiation in the contract to make sure that you're protected, or that there's timelines or like language around increases in purchase price based on inflation. So the lawyer, a good lawyer, will go through and resolve all of that stuff and make sure that's all taken care of for you. Smith, the safe question gets me. I mean, I get it. I understand. But yeah, it's to me, maybe because I'm in this world all the time, it seems like a thing of the past. One did happen, but it was drug related like 20 years ago. Yeah, right. So again, things happen here. Things happen here. It's not like it doesn't, but it's not an epidemic, right? If you look at the stats on mass shootings in the United States, I think that was the 44th shooting this year, school shooting this year in the United States. Bigger country, I get, but whew. Link for the Inner Circle CGN. There's 2 places you can get it. In the bottom of any of my YouTube videos, it's right at it's the very top link if you look at my YouTube videos. And I did a story on Instagram to grab it. I'll post it in this once this posts, but if you're looking to do it sooner, you can do it either on Instagram. I dropped a link in a story, or in any of my other YouTube videos. Thanks for all you do and the insight. You're welcome, Willie. I rejected a $95K base salary remote position. I felt I wasn't ready to make the move. Do you think I made a mistake? No. Willie, here's my take on that. Again, getting into the mindset. I don't believe in mistakes or regrets. I believe that we make the best decisions for the version of person we are in that moment. For whatever reason, the version of you that you are, whatever that means, that's not a bad thing, didn't feel right about this. And I think trusting your gut is probably better than wondering if you missed out. That said, if you're looking at it and you do some analysis on it, maybe you kind of like get quiet and meditate and really feel like, I did that out of fear, not out of gut instinct, then live and learn, right? But no, I don't think it was a mistake, because I don't believe in mistakes. I don't believe in, I don't believe in mistakes on that sort of stuff. I don't believe in regrets. I just don't. I think we are what we are, and that's that. Bobby says, I watched Jay's video. He had some fun with you. Jay's my guy, man. He can have as much fun as he wants to. Plus, he's like 2 times my size. I'm not going to mess with him. It never happened in DR. We're talking about the mass shooting thing. Is Macau a nice place? Robert, it's developing, it's growing. I've heard that some sarcasm has snuck up there in the summer months. I hate hearing that, but it's nice. It's just, there's not much there right now. So you got to be mindful of that. Pedro, I love your content. I appreciate that. Long-term investment in DR is the key. 100%, Franklin. That's how you have to look at it. There are some people that flip properties. Don't get me wrong. It's just, to me, that's not my game. Exactly my point, but Americans always asking, is DR safe? Yeah, Rudog, I get, like, the narrative is, you got to remember, if you're American, you never have to leave the borders of the United States to see the rest, to see different climates and different environments, right? Like, you want tropical, go to Florida. You want desert, go to Arizona. You want mountains, go anywhere in the north. You want snow, you can do anything in the United States. You never need to leave. Canadians, on the other hand, have to leave their country to get warm weather. Europeans and South Americans routinely cross country lines because their countries are, smaller. Even Africans. I mean, some of those countries are huge, but you get my point. The point I'm making is, like, culturally, Americans are conditioned to, like, you don't need to leave the US. You want an island, go to Hawaii, even Puerto Rico, right? That's still the US. And that feels like exotic to a lot of Americans. So they don't need to leave. And then on top of it, they own the media landscape in the world. So what's every movie's propaganda? What's the word I'm looking for? Like bumbling, moronic military in X country doesn't know how to do it, but who comes in to save the day? The Americans, right? Rocky IV over Drago in Russia, right? Like, we're conditioned as Americans to think like it's all here and everywhere else sucks or is unsafe. And those of us that break out, those of you that break out of that bubble, that see the other side, and that's what I think the best gift I've ever given my kids, I think you just have a more expanded life. I remember saying to my kids driving somewhere, they were talking about this other country that's unsafe. And I said, guys, you know that most Americans think where you live is unsafe? And they're like, what? That's crazy, right? Like, what a perspective they have, which is really cool. Let's see what else we got here. Agree about lack of human connection. Are you going through mortgage with Scotiabank? DW, I'm in the process. How's it going? They're annoying as we'll see how it goes. I'll let you know. But right now, it made me go, and this is, I'm not doing this, but I'll tell you, like, the process here made me go, like, I should raise a fund in the United States that specifically is designed to lend on resale property in the Dominican Republic, providing a return to those that invest in that fund, and actually mimic more of a U.S. service, U.S. standard of lending, because if there's one thing I don't like about Dominicans, sorry if it offends you, not all of it, like the way Dominican workers work here, let me be more specific, is there is a tendency to look for the path of least resistance in anything they do. Like, well, we saw this in your tax return, so yeah, I don't know that we could do this. Like, well, that's specifically, they're looking at like my taxable income, not my income. And it's like, well, why would you don't have exemptions here? Like, well, of course we do. Well, that's what I did. I leveraged exemptions and write-offs in order to lower my taxable income. So they're looking for, it's just like, oh, that doesn't look good, so no. Or not no, they didn't say no, but like, oh yeah, no, the best we could do is just like, I had to send back to them work that they should be doing or they should be asking for. So that's frustrating me right now. It's frustrating me. All right. So that's the Mortgage Scotiabank. Jose, I got a friend high up at Amazon, the warehouse logistics center for the Caribbean is about to finish construction in PR, not in DR. What Amazon is doing is targeting direct. Oh, thank you for that, Jose. Thanks for that. I appreciate you clarifying. How is dental insurance in DR? I don't have dental insurance. We just pay for it out of pocket. I drive in Dominican the same I do in the US, and other users appreciate it. I like that. I saw that there have been 280 mass shootings in the, oh my God, 280 this year. That's crazy. My goal is to retire there. I've seen what investors do. Trust El Gringo. Well, not on the Amazon things. I might have got that wrong. So be careful with trusting El Gringo. 3 good businesses that Punta Cana may need or lacks. I don't know, TDJ. My response to that is always like, you can't know until you're here. For me, it's different than somebody else. It's really like, it's so hard to know. Doing a great job. I own a condo close to your 1-bedroom. I'm just wondering if you're hearing anything about the crime going up in the area. Steve, if you're watching Bávaro Digital, there's crime going up everywhere, according to that publication. I'm not hearing anything about that. I hear about crimes in that area for sure, in Bávaro specifically. But crime going up, if you're within a range, I don't know what the percentages are, but if you're within a range that's still reasonable, it doesn't concern me. But I guess what I'm saying, I'm not hearing suddenly that people in that area are afraid to be there. Does that make sense? So, crimes can happen for sure, but I'm not hearing that like, oh my God, that area just became unsafe. How much is the APR with Nova Scotia and herd average with Nova Scotia? I don't know about Nova Scotia. DR, yeah. If you look at Scotiabank, it's Scotia. That's what you meant. How much is the APR with Scotia? 8.25% if you lock in for 1 year, 9% if you lock in for 5 US dollar. If you're doing a peso mortgage, it's like 14 to 18%. Yuka, good to see you. Wandolio coming up September 13th. That's great. Wandolio is another area where there's a lot of public-private money going in. So again, I hold that in higher esteem. You're welcome, Rudog. It's a great idea about a mortgage company with an American way of doing this. Yeah, Junior. It's just there's a lot of, I looked into it because I was so annoyed. There's a lot of like legal hurdles. There's a lot there. But anyway, car stuck at dog groomers last August. Called a neighbor for advice. She sent a mechanic and routed her husband to get my pups. I was safe at home within 30 minutes. 2 tires popped on Christmas Day in Higüey, not in the city, but up in the sticks outside of it. A family nearby allowed us to come and hang out with them on Christmas Day while somebody came up to replace our tires. I hear you. It's crazy. It's crazy. Jose, you're completely right about how short-minded in the U.S. about other countries. They believe everything in the U.S., but at the same time, they close their minds to experiencing. And then he deleted it. Franklin, yes, getting a loan is challenging since employees at the bank don't fully understand the tax from USA. I even said that. I'm like, I will send you additional documentation, but they went to like one line on, I have a 240-page tax return, 240 pages. They went to one line and one number, not looking at all the others, and just said, oh, that doesn't make sense. We don't know about this loan. So this morning I sent them 3 documents that are like, can you just look at these 3 things? Like to do the math on this, can we make this, just ask me. Don't tell me what, we looked at this and we don't think so. So annoying. But now I might be working with a mortgage broker, like an independent mortgage broker, just to get another option out there, but frustrating. DR next week, driving Puerto Plata up through the north coast to Nagua to visit my friend, then to Punta Cana. I was thinking of visiting Macau and Miches. I don't know how many, I didn't know they had so many mountains. Yeah, tons of mountains. Process selling my home in Atlanta, moving my mother and aunt, both 75 years old. Where would be the best place for them to rent for the first year or 2 with a good access to a senior community? Depends on your budget. Cocotal is probably the spot that comes to mind. A lot of retirees in Cocotal. If they're like kind of more like active ladies, then Corrales is a great spot. The Village, Ciudad La Palma are all good spots as well. La Palma would be the cheapest spot to rent with still great amenities. It's more family than senior, but it's not like an obnoxiously loud place. But all those places I just said, Cocotal, Ciudad La Palma, Ciudad Las Canas maybe, but Cap Cana is just so far from everything. Not that, but it's everything you have to do. You have to leave the area. Punta Cana Village, Cocotal, Ciudad La Palma, Vista Cana, all quiet, reasonable places. Los Corrales is a very active place. I was looking around for that mortgage scenario. Let me know. You're welcome. Sure thing, DW. Can you talk a little about the increase in Vista Cana real estate due to the opening of Ashton School? I mean, we haven't seen that baked in yet, Colin, but there's an increase in interest there, which by virtue, it increases price. So that's got a lot of upside, depending on how well Ashton does. But so far out of the gate, I know that they are fully enrolled. They're sold out. Seems like that's going to be a real boom for Vista Cana. What else we got here? Let's look at a mortgage. Can you talk a little bit about the increase? Oh, we just talked about that. That was Colin Rogers. That's what I got. I don't even know what time it is, but I've been on here about an hour. I think that's about the upper limit of somebody watching this on replay on YouTube. And sorry for the bustle and the banging around here, but hopefully you got those stories. I'm going to get more research on the Amazon thing because I might have been wrong at the jump of this video about a logistics hub. I was told there's a building, like a logistics hub in Haina, but maybe that's like next phase. So whoever that was that mentioned about flights in, I appreciate you, but I'll let you know what I learned. Again, I said at the jump, I want to do more detailed videos on this stuff. There's this, there's the credit rating increase. There was another topic that popped up that I wanted to talk about in a longer form video. I can't remember what it is now, but I'll get that out there too. Stay tuned to YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate you. Check out the Inner Circle. And yeah, I'll see you guys all on the next live next week. Have a great one.